Howdy guys. I'd like to do a little gear review on the Gerber folding saw. And unlike a lot of these people on the internet that are getting bushcraft gear given to them to review, I buy all my stuff. Nobody gives me anything, therefore you're going to get my honest opinion. I bought this Gerber folding saw probably a year and a half or so ago. It's got a handy little case. Comes with an extra blade that's replaceable. I haven't used it all that much, and that's part of the reason for this review. I don't know if you're going to be able to see, but the back of the spine of the saw has broken. I probably haven't cut more than 5 or 6 serious limbs with this saw. Mostly, inch, 2-inch diameter at the most. For it to be broken to me is kind of staggering. I have a bunch of Gerber stuff, and I've always liked Gerber. So I was kind of disappointed when the saw broke, and I was more disappointed with Gerber's response to that. Now, I wrote Gerber a message, went onto their website, said, hey, look, I've got your folding saw. I've had it for a little over a year. Haven't sawed that much with it, and I really haven't. And, what are you guys willing to do about it? And their basic answer was, well, it's a pretty cheap item, and they are. They're only 20-25 bucks. And, I could send it in, but they would make a final determination as to whether or not they were going to replace or repair it. And all the postage would be at my expense, blah, 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 blah. As far as cutting, it cut great, but, look at how aggressive the blade is. It's an aggressive blade. Of course it's going to cut good. So I'm going to be looking for a new option on a folding saw. That's just my 2 cents on this little Gerber folding saw. Maybe some other people have them and they're wonderful. If I had abused it in any way, I broke all kinds of stuff that I've abused, and you'll never hear me badmouth it. If I torture it and it doesn't hold up, but it was kind of outside its design capabilities, then you won't hear a peep from me. This saw has never been abused, and for it to break at the spine like that just doesn't make any sense to me. It is, however, still usable, just for the record. Even though the spine's broke and the little button thing in here, the locking mechanism is broke, it is still 100% usable. It still locks fully. It's just the fact that everything inside of it's coming apart. Now I don't know how long it'll stay usable. So anyway, there's my 2 cents on this little Gerber folding saws. Other thing I want to mention before I go on is I've been noticing a lot of these guys, and I'm not going to get into naming names and pointing fingers, but I sure see a lot of these people in the bushcraft community now that are starting to get a following. They are slapping their logo on a bunch of gear and putting it on their website and selling it as the new latest and greatest bushcraft item. And some of it's probably good stuff, and other stuff I'm looking at is obviously garbage, or stuff, if they were really a bushcraft teacher, they should be teaching you to make, not trying to sell you already prepackaged in a can. So be careful when you're buying stuff. Try and find people that, like I said, nobody sends me stuff to review. I'm not going to tell you that down the road I am not going to, if I find something that I can sell at a good price, like more knives. Right now I'm trying, because I believe in more knives, and I'm trying to get a really good price point so I can start selling them good and cheap to get access to them. So I'm not going to tell you that anybody in the bushcraft community is not going to be selling things, because everybody is. I mean, that's part of the game. That's why we do this. A lot of, that's why you get into instruction, is to make money. We have spent, me and anybody else has spent a lot of money learning a lot of the skills we have, whether it's in, for me, whether it's in firearms or whether it's in, bushcraft. But, any of these guys on the video, on the internet, that are teaching anything worth knowing have already spent a lot of money to get where they are. So if they're trying to sell stuff where they want to do this for a living, well, it's just like any other job. I would love to be able to teach firearms and bushcraft for a living, but I've got a family to feed too. I've got bills to pay just like everybody else. So for me to ultimately get this to where I can do it full time, which is what I'd love to do, and I do not do this full time now, incidentally. But to get all this where I could do it full time, I have to be able to pay for it. I got to justify to my wife, just like you got to justify to your wife, the kind of money I bring home. So ultimately, I do intend to get a web store up and get some good quality items. Now that's where I'm going to stop. I'm going to go with good quality items. I can tell you, I won't be selling Gerber folding saws the way they are right now. For that to break is, it's been in this case and all that, and this is something you'll never see me selling on my website. I'll either find another option that I consider good or move on. And the other factor for me is going to be price. If I'm going to eventually, and I've already started building it, I'm going to put a link page up of where I find stuff the cheapest to save you guys the hunt. Like I've got a real good source for more knives right now. It's going to be up on the website until I get up and set up and start dealing. Even then, I'll probably keep the competition up there, because life's all about choices, and I'm not going to tell you guys what to buy and what not to buy. I mean, I'll tell you my opinions on anything, but the important part is that you do a little bit of research for yourself, and any of the new latest and greatest, and I don't care who's slapping their logo on it. Look around before you just jump on that stuff. I mean, there's some stuff floating around out there, and I'm not even going to get into what it is, that I mean, people should be ashamed of themselves for selling that to their students. Because if you're on here and you're watching what I'm putting on with the intent of trying to learn something, to me, you're my student, and I owe you something for that. I mean, I owe you something for coming and believing in my knowledge and my skill sets. So I'm not gonna steer you down a path I'm not on myself. That's why I chose to point out the Gerber. I actually noticed this while making another video on my bag, that it was broke. I went through the process of contacting Gerber and all that, and waited for their response. Their response was not impressive to me, as far as, I got an automated email telling me, well, pay to send a $20 folding saw back to us, and then if we decide we don't fix it, we're going to send it back to you postage due. So I'm going to wait 6 months and have $10 invested in shipping a $20 knife back and forth, if they decide they don't want to fix it, and still be out of saw. So yeah, probably not. But like I said, look over some gear, look for some reviews of some gear, and if it's branded gear, if it's something that one of these bushcraft guys have taken and slapped their little logo on, and I've got my little logo, I mean, everybody's got their little logos, but if something they've taken and slapped their logo on and are trying to sell it, look for some reviews of that product that are not on their website. I have yet to find a website where somebody is selling Bob's folding saw and then get a bad review on Bob's website for Bob's folding saw. You're just not going to get it. And I'll give you another piece of caution there. Magazines. Consumer Reports is probably the only magazine that I will really truly accept their opinion. This goes for firearms, bushcraft, I don't care what it is. If you go to a firearms magazine and they are reviewing the new Colt whatever, or SIG whatever, or Glock whatever. They're going to get this gun, they're going to do this big review, this big write-up, tell you how wonderful it is, blah, 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 blah. Give it a few minor downsides to get the point across that they're not being biased. You read that article and you think, man, I've got to get that Colt brand. I don't care what it is. I'm not picking on any brand. But I've got to get that. And then you flip 6 pages in the magazine, and there in the magazine is a 1 or a 2 page ad for that same product that that company paid for. Now, think about this logically for a minute. If I am paying $25,000 or whatever they pay to advertise in a gun magazine like Guns and Ammo, and I give you a gun and you write it a bad review, what do you think the odds of me reviewing that or buying an ad in it next month are? Pretty slim. So you're pretty hard pressed in a lot of these magazines to find bad reviews on guns, especially when that company's advertising in that magazine, because that's where the money is. The issue prices, if you think about it, you get a color magazine that big that you pay $1.29 for, or whatever you pay for. I mean, I don't know what magazines cost nowadays. That price point on those magazines truly is for the production of the magazine, just to cover the production of it. They are making their money on the advertising inside the magazine. That's how they're paying their employees. That's how they're paying their light bill, is with the advertising, not with the cost per issue. So again, look for honest reviews. If there's something out there you want to know what it is, send me a message. I'll buy it and try it. I'll give you my honest opinion of it. But especially if you're buying stuff to put in your kit to bet your life on, don't go spending money on stuff that is unproven and untested, other than by the guy putting it out. Because the guy putting it out and trying to get your dollar bill out of it, he's gonna tell you it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. So anyway, that being said, if you want to buy it and try it out, start making some videos on what you think. I sit and I watch gear reviews all the time. Some I take to heart, some I don't. Some of it has talked me into buying things. Some of it's talked me out of buying things. So anyway, the Gerber folding saw, so far I'm not impressed. I mean, as far as the saw for cutting trees, it was fine, but the durability of it, and like I said, I didn't do anything to this saw. If I had taken it out and done anything with it, I mean, honestly, this saw got used to cut down a couple of limbs while I was bow hunting, and a couple more limbs while I was setting up some double bull deer blinds, and it's cut a few limbs in a couple of bushcraft classes. I mean, but it has not been abused by anybody's standards. So like I said, the only side note to that is it still works. I mean, it still opens and locks fully. It's just, and my disappointment in this you can't possibly see, I don't think, in the video, but the whole spine up top here is has broke, and I could pull it apart at the back real easy, and the button is no longer centered like it was. I mean, it's kind of floating in there, I assume because the whole casing's broke. So anyway, food for thought. If you guys got another saw that you think I need to try, stick it in the comments. I'd sure like to hear it. Check out our web forum, our web page. They'll be down in the notes. Thumbs up and subscribe if you like some of the videos I'm putting out. I appreciate you guys watching. Have a good day.